I mentioned this in class a little bit, but I wanted to, I guess, show you how this works. Is that Unity is a project-based piece of software in that every project that you make. So let's say that you're making a video game. That video game would be its own project. And so I have a bunch of different projects here for different dance projects that I'm working on and other older ones and freelance work that I'm doing. So this lists all my projects. And you'll notice that for each of these, it actually lists a path. If the window is a little smaller, you'll see that it kind of lists it underneath here, but it shows you exactly where it is on your computer. So this is the E hard drive, and I always make a I always make a folder called Unity Projects, and then I put all my Unity projects in there. You can also go to the folder by going over this little dot, 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 and choose Show in Explorer. So I recommend for everyone to maybe just make a specific folder to put all your projects in. It makes it a lot easier to keep an eye on them. When you start up Unity Hub after you make an account, you won't have any projects. This list will be empty if you click on the Projects tab over here. So if you go ahead and click on New Project, it will here on the right give you your project name. You'll have to put this in, and then here it will point you towards a destination. So if you have a Unity Projects folder, then I would go up and I would put it in that folder, for example, give it a new name. And then for the most part, what you'll use, I think for everybody's, will be using 3D Core. So these are a bunch of built-in templates that you can use depending on the type of game that you are making, the type of product, or there's augmented reality, virtual reality, auto showroom. That's new. I haven't seen that one before. So if you use 3D Core as your basic template, and then give it a name, and then you click Create Project. And what it will do is it will take a minute, and it will start to put together all the basic elements that it needs to make a sort of an empty project. So I guess we'll see. This shouldn't take too long, but it kind of depends on how fast your computer is. It might take a couple of minutes. And then when it's done, you end up with a folder that's got quite a bit of stuff in it. And you have to make sure, you just want to make sure that that folder stays together. You can't really separate parts out because it sort of needs to know where everything is. And so there is a folder assembly. So here's the scene. If we go back into Unity Hub here, right, and I go to this project and I'll click on this and say Show in Explorer, and it will open it up. I think on the Mac it says Show in Finder. And here's the actual then project folder. And then in here, you can see a bunch of different folders, temp files, where it's holding temporary information, project settings files, library files, right? So it's got all kinds of different files. So even an empty project that doesn't have anything in it, if we look at the properties, has how many files in it? 7,000 files. And that's before you've added anything of your own. And so it's just important that all these things stay together. If you remove things out of here, then it can start to break it. If you were to try to move this project from one computer to another, then you'd want to move this whole folder, or the best way to do it is to right click and make a zip file. On the Mac and Windows, there are built-in ways to make a zip file, and then you can move that whole zip file. That's often the fastest way to do it. Then you know everything is together. Also, some of the smaller plug-in hard drives can be slow when you have a ton of files. So even though zipping it takes some time, sometimes the zip file will copy, often the zip file will copy significantly faster than the one where it's got to copy 7,000 files at a time. Okay, so that's what you'll do. You'll make your own scenes, and you can make as many as you want. Or sorry, you make your own projects, as many projects as you want. And this is where they'll all go. You'll see them all listed here. And then if you exit a project, right, leave it. All you have to do is come back in here and just click on the name. And oh, that says that's already open. I must have exited. I exited a different project that was open. So let me click on this one. Click here on my project, and it will fire up right away. Okay, and then if you want to delete a project, then what you need to do is go delete that whole folder on your computer. So I'm going to close this out, and let's say I'd made this, I was just practicing, and I wanted to get rid of it. What I would do is go over here to this and say Show in Explorer, and then I would right-click on the whole folder, just that project, not all the projects, just this one. Right-click and say Delete. And it will dump those 7,000 files into there. Then the other thing I would recommend doing is going back over here to Unity Hub and going back to that triple dot menu and say Remove from List, because there isn't a project there, and then say Remove Project. Okay, so that's the basics of project management.